You can tell when a heart has been hurt, not by the noise it makes, but by the silence it leaves behind. It's in the way someone pauses before speaking, as if choosing their words could protect them from breaking. It's in the smile that looks steady from far away, but collapses the moment you look closely. Some hearts don't shatter loudly, they shatter quietly. In small, invisible ways, a conversation avoided, a thought swallowed, a truth held too tightly in the chest, and the world never notices, because these are the people who still show up, who still carry everything, who still say, "I'm fine," and that even when their voice trembles, they don't hide because they want to. They hide because life taught them that their honesty was too heavy for others. This is the psychology of a heart that learned to hide everything. We live in a world that rewards composure. People admire the ones who stay calm, who never lose control, who seem to carry everything so easily, but no one asks what it costs to live that way. No one asks how heavy it is to be the strong one. Yeah, how exhausting it feels to swallow your own hurt just to keep the peace. How lonely it becomes when everyone believes you're fine, simply because you never fall apart in front of them. So you learn to hide what you feel, not out of dishonesty, but out of survival. You train yourself to move through life quietly, holding everything together with tired hands, praying no one notices the cracks, and terrified someone might, because when you've spent years pretending to be okay, the idea of being seen, truly seen, is both comforting and terrifying. And that's the weight a hidden heart carries every single day. The truth is, people don't start life hiding themselves. They learn to, usually early, usually quietly. It begins the first time they're told to be strong when they're scared, or to stop crying when something hurts. It begins when their feelings are treated like problems, or when vulnerability is met with silence, confusion, or disappointment. So they start performing not on purpose, but because it feels safer. They learn to smile quickly after bad news. They learn to say it's fine before their voice can tremble. They learn to shrink their needs so the world stays calm around them. And little by little, they become the person everyone relies on. The steady one, the calm one, the one who never falls apart. But inside, there is a constant negotiation happening. What they feel versus what they're allowed to show. It's a quiet performance, a daily act, a mask polished over years of emotional survival. And eventually, they forget where the performance ends and where their real self begins. There is a hidden cost to being the calm one, a cost no one sees. On the outside, their life looks steady, reliable, controlled, but inside, there is a quiet exhaustion that never fully leaves because holding everything together takes energy. Kind of energy people rarely talk about. So that's the energy it takes to swallow your fear, to mute your frustration, to act unaffected when your heart is breaking and the world gets used to it. People stop checking in. They stop asking, "Are you okay?" They assume silence means strength, even when silence is actually a sign of collapse. So the burden grows. They become the friend who listens to everyone's problems, but has no place to put their own. They become the partner who supports, but rarely receives support back. They become the person who makes life easier for others while carrying a weight that no one else can see. Over time, this quiet responsibility becomes a sentence, one where they must always be composed, always be stable, always be the one who doesn't break. But humans aren't built to be unshakable, and pretending to be unshakable slowly breaks them in ways the world never notices. There comes a point when hiding becomes a habit, a reflex, a quiet way of moving through the world, and the more they carry alone, the heavier everything starts to feel, not just emotionally, but physically, like a constant tension in the chest, or a heaviness behind the eyes that never fully goes away. They get good at pretending they're fine. Too good. People see their composure, but they don't see the nights spent wide awake, holding thoughts that refuse to calm down. They see their patience, but not the moments they sit in silence because they don't know how to ask for help. They see their strength, but not the weight that strength is built on. This loneliness becomes a second skin. something they wear without even noticing. They learn to celebrate alone, grieve alone, heal alone, break alone. And after enough time, they stop expecting anyone to show up for them, not because they don't want connection, but because they're convinced that their pain is a burden, and the world already has enough of those, so they carry everything quietly, hoping someone will understand, and certain that no one ever will. Eventually, there comes a moment they never planned for, and never wanted. A moment when the mask slips. Sometimes it happens quietly. In a conversation that hits too close to the truth, sometimes it happens suddenly, in a wave of emotion they've held back for years, and sometimes it happens for no reason at all, in the middle of an ordinary day, as if the heart simply can't hold its own weight anymore. It's not dramatic, it's not loud, it's not the kind of breakdown people imagine. It's a crack, a soft collapse, a trembling breath, a moment where the strength they built for survival finally runs out. And their mind becomes tired of managing everything alone. Their body becomes tired of pretending it's fine. And the facade they've worn for so long begins to feel too heavy to lift. In that moment, they don't want attention. They don't want sympathy. They don't want advice. They want relief, to stop holding everything in, to stop being the reliable one, to stop acting strong when strength feels impossible. This is the moment when the heart whispers what the world has ignored for years. I can't carry this alone anymore. Healing doesn't begin with strength. It begins with permission. Permission to feel what was once ignored. Permission to stop being the strong one. Permission to exist without performing. And at first, it feels wrong. It feels unfamiliar to speak honestly. It feels uncomfortable to let someone see the parts you've hidden. It feels dangerous to say, I'm not okay. But slowly, the body starts to recognize safety again. In quiet moments, in gentle conversations, in the presence of someone who doesn't rush your pain, or judge your softness, or shrink away from the heaviness you carry, these moments become reminders. You were never meant to survive alone. Your feelings were never too much. Your needs were never a burden. You were simply taught to hide. And now, for the first time in a long time, you're learning that you don't have to. When a heart begins to feel safe again, something beautiful happens. It remembers itself. Not the version it created to survive, but the version that existed before the silence, before the fear, before the weight it carried alone. It remembers the things it once loved, the dreams it buried to stay strong, the pieces of identity it hid because no one ever held space for them. And slowly, the mask that once felt permanent begins to loosen. Not because the world became easier, but because the heart became braver. Brave enough to show its truth. Brave enough to exist without shrinking. Brave enough to be real again. This is the return of the self, the quiet reawakening of who you are when you're no longer performing for survival. It doesn't happen with noise. It doesn't happen all at once. It happens in small, honest moments where the heart finally says, "This is me." And for the first time in a long time, that feels enough. The truth is, a heart that hides everything doesn't do it out of weakness. It does it out of protection, out of learned survival. But there comes a moment, quiet, subtle, when the heart realizes it no longer wants to live behind itself, not because the world suddenly became safer, but because carrying everything alone has become heavier than being seen. And healing begins there, in the small decision to let yourself exist again, to admit what hurts, to allow someone in, to take one step toward the parts of you you've avoided for years. It's not dramatic, it's not sudden, it's not loud, it's gentle, slow, honest, a return to the person you were before the world taught you to hide. And maybe that's the most powerful thing of all, not becoming someone new, but finally becoming someone real. The world may never understand the storms you carry, but that has never made your heart any less worthy of peace. You don't have to hide forever, you just need one honest moment to begin. If this spoke to you, take a moment to breathe and remember you're not alone in this. And if you want more reflections like this, subscribe to the channel and let's keep exploring the mind together.